In this video, I'm going to show you how to use an application problem and put it into slope-intercept form and then answer a couple questions based on the equation that you have. So for this first example, because we're dealing with slope-intercept form of an equation, I wrote that form here on my paper. And I'll read you the scenario so then we can set up our equation to answer the questions. It says an art teacher has $280 for supplies, and she plans to spend $14 per week. Write an equation in slope-intercept form that represents this scenario, and make sure to define your variables. So the art teacher has saved up $280 for supplies, and she's going to be spending $14 per week. So if part A says define your variables and write your equation, I'm going to let X represent the number of weeks. And I'm going to let Y represent the amount of money. Now the reason why I know these are the two variables is because of this $14 per week, and I want to explain how I know that. When you see $14 per week, this represents your slope because it's giving you 2 units, and slope is a change in your y over your change in x. So that means my change in my y, my dependent, is my dollar amount, and then per really means like divide your fraction, and then independent, which is our x variable, is our week. So remember, your slope is your y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So they tell you your fraction in order y per, meaning divide, x. And if it says $14 per week, the 14 that comes first is my y variable. So y was the money symbol that they said. And per means divide, so my fraction. And then x variable comes next, which is week. So that's why I had x representing weeks and y representing money. And then my equation for y equals mx plus b, I'm going to write it this way first. She has $280 to spend. That's her starting point. And if she's going to be spending money, that means she's subtracting $14 per week. But if I want it in the form y equals mx plus b, that would be negative 14x and plus the 280 starting value for the money that she had to begin with. And then spending money means you're losing money that you had saved up. Now the next question here says, what is the real world meaning of the slope? And I kind of talked about that up here. So your slope is the m of your equation, which is your y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And my $14 per week represents the change in the y variable per your x variable. So it's her spending money. So I'm going to say spending money per each week. So for each week, she's going to spend $14. So $14 per 1 week. Now I'm going to identify from my equation my y-intercept. Oh, I'm sorry, my x-intercept. Okay, so I have to solve for that. I'm going to skip to here first because I want to talk about the y-intercept that's actually in our function. So if I have y is equal to negative 14x plus 280, my 0, 280, right, my y-intercept is going to be the b of our function, because y equals mx plus b. This b is your y-intercept. So let's talk about what that means. As a point, it would be 0, 280. And again, x is our weeks, and y was the money. So this as a sentence would be, when x equals 0, or at the start, I should say not when. I should say if x equals 0, which means at the start, the art teacher has $280. Now, the x-intercept is going to be an x value, comma, 0 for y, because x-intercept would be an amount here. We actually have to solve for that. So as I'm looking at my function, I'm going to plug in 0 for the y and solve for my x-intercept. So let's do a little work over here. If 0 was equal to negative 14x plus 280, to solve for my x, I need to get my x term alone. So I'm going to subtract 280, which means I'll have negative 280 equal to negative 14x. And if I divide by the negative 14, I'll solve for my x. So with my calculator, I have negative 280 divided by negative 14. My solution is 20. So 20 is equal to our x. This means, so 20 here, in 20 weeks, remember because x was weeks, the money will be gone. So this is how much money she had to start. She started with $280. She's going to spend $14 per week. So after she's been spending money, it will take 20 weeks for her money to be gone. So if the art teacher has $280 saved up, she's spending $14 per week. She starts with $280 in her pocket. That's our y-intercept. She's spending $14 per week, and in 20 weeks, all of the money will be gone. That's our application.